I'm there. That's it. I'm not understanding. Okay. All right. All praise to Yahuwah, the Most High Allure. Again, we're coming back to try to finish this that we started last week, talking about um, the third part and all of that. I hope that made kind of some sense what we were dealing with last week. So, in order for you to understand this week of it, you would have to this week of it, you will have to go into and look at the first part of it. And this is what has to happen. So it's all good. And I want you to know that, yeah, we're streaming from Facebook, and we also streaming from 2 channels on YouTube. On YouTube. So that's what's happening. And but nevertheless, it's all good. All praise again to the Most High. And before I get into those scriptures, I want to give a little report of what's going on the continent. I did receive a video call from my son there, Augustus, and I'm telling you, I was so amazed at the growth of the assembly that is happening there and the training that is being done. So received a little report on that this morning, and to see those people, to see the people, I think it was, I couldn't see it really good, but I think it was some old and young, but, and I give Yahuwah praise for all of them, but to see those young men is ready to take this thing and lead the way, what Yahuwah is doing. I still want to say to our people, and I just want to thank you first for all of your giving. And they grew out of the house that they started in. So now they're in another little bigger building. And from the way things look, they're going to grow out of that probably by next Shabbat. So, and we are really needing to get into the property that we are purchased. Like I said, we are the owners of it, but we still have a balance. And now that balance have came down to only 6,700 some bucks. So we're that far. Come on, everybody, give yourself a hand praise. And that is from $25,000, and we only started this thing, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, or something like that. And so your donations is welcome. I thank Word of Freedom here for their donations, and they're constantly giving this, so that balance is coming on down, and we'll be able to take over the schools and stuff. So I admonish you all, someone liked the, on Facebook, someone liked the, what we have on there, make donations for Mission Africa. I got it word. Someone just liked that. I need you to donate to that. If truth be told, because we really need to move on into our facility that we have purchased there. But I just want to thank also for the brother that allowed us to get all the certificates and stuff again, and all the approvals from the state, and give us what we needed in order to proceed this far. But we made the deal with him that we won't be able to move into the facility until the balance paid. So from $25,000 some, we got it all the way down to like 6,700 and some. So all praise to Yahuwah for that. And plus the assembly have already begun to grow. And we hadn't even taken over the place yet. Isn't that something? And the people are excited and stuff. And I'm excited because I had the chance to talk to them a little bit this morning and what this is about. And I mentioned to them, and this is for everyone. If China had taken over you and colonized you, you all would be Buddhists right now. If India had taken over you and colonized you, you all would be Hindu by now. But because it was the European that taken over, mind you, all of these are false gods now. And so because the European overcame and colonized you, this is why you're Christian today. Steve, that's the reason why you Jesus today. This is the reason why you call and worship God today. All of it is false. And if you still can't have the mind or the ruach to understand those things and to put that together, you're enjoying what you're in. And that's why the Father tells us that if you having pleasure in your unrighteousness and worshiping these false deities and all this, if you having pleasures in this, he's going to send you even a stronger delusion that you can keep believing that lie. That lie is Jesus Christ. That lie is the rapture. That lie is Christianity. So he said, if you continue to have pleasure in this, I'm going to send you a strong delusion so you can keep believing it. Why? So you all can be damned. That love not the truth. That love not the truth. Finally, read it for yourself. I think it's in 2 Thessalonians 2 and around verse 11 or somewhere along in there. But nevertheless, all praise to the Most High, Yahuwah. All is good. All is well, nevertheless. So I just want you to think about, and kind of like, again, I do give a great shout out for all of those that is participating in bringing this work to pass through your giving. We're almost there at the finish line. We're just almost there, Raw, at the finish line, and I can see it coming. And then, again, the people are growing there. And we're going to teach our children. We're going to get them at the infant stages and teach them about Yahuwah. They ain't going to know nothing about no false Jesus. They ain't going to know nothing about no Godriel. Lucifer's real name, Godriel. They ain't going to know nothing about it. All thing they going to know is Yahuwah, Alua, Yahusha is salvation. So we're going to teach them. And that work have already begun, thanks to you. Please keep giving, brothers and sisters, so that we can bring this balance to a pass. So we can bring it to a pass. You are appreciated. And again, my Cash App is on that Facebook page, and my what you call it? PayPal is pinned to the top of that page. So we're almost there. I can feel my, when Elizabeth was pregnant, first got pregnant with John, the scripture says the babe leaped in her womb, something like that. I can feel this thing leaping. I don't have a womb, but I can feel it leaping in my ruach, though. I mean, the joy that it gives me, it brings me to be able to minister to our people. And then the Father says that this is not going to only be in this one spot. It's going to go worldwide, because his truth have to march on. His truth have to come to every ear, every nation, every tongue. His truth. And for me being chosen to be a part of that, we're not the only one now. I want you to know that. We're not the only one. But it gives me great joy that the Father will see me worthy to do this with my little old sinful self. Y'all following me? Are y'all following me? And you'll have all kind of thoughts. Well, I think like this sometimes. Why? He's not going to bring it to pass because I act like this sometimes. He's not going to bring it to pass. But how many know it ain't about me? It's about him. It's about his work. It's not about me. That's why David, and I'm not making excuses, that's why David was able to do the things that he did, kill Uriah, sleep with his wife, even marry her his wife. But the Most High kept him king. And then said, this is a man after my own heart. Why? Because what he had called David to be and to do, it wasn't about David. It was about him. Now, that might be hard for Christianity to understand. Might even be hard for some of Yasharel to understand. There are some things that is just about Yahuwah, and he's going to do it in spite of you. He's going to do it in spite of you. Jehu was a wicked man. He worshiped idols. You got me? But Jehu was born to dethrone Jezebel. You got me? That's what Yahuwah chose him for. It wasn't about Jehu. It was about him bringing down Jezebel so that the dogs can eat her. You got me? And after Jehu did that, guess what happened? Jehu went right back to worshiping his idol gods. But the Most High, the Kodesh Most High, chose him to do that. See, we don't get it sometimes. And I was bringing condemnation upon myself because I don't think right sometimes. Think I'm going to stand here and tell you I do. No, I be wanting to strangle some of y'all sometimes. You know, but the Most High chose me for this work. And so it's about him. But know this of a surety, you're helping to bring this to pass. You're helping to bring it to pass, and I thank you. So please, just give so we can secure this facility, because I know in the next couple of 3 weeks, we're going to be done grew out of that place where we are now. We'll be done grew out of that place. And let me tell you how the Most High done, how he's helping along. So I know, I'm encouraged because I know it's going to happen, because grew out of his house, right? And then the neighbor told him, well, I got this place and you can have, you can teach that. And then there was another guy that came along and offered chairs. That's Yahuwah's doing. Are y'all feeling me? And so now, and I know going to be the grew out of this place here, this next place, this place that they're at now. I know in the next couple of Sabbaths, the way that they're growing. So all praise to him. And the people are getting on board to worship Yahuwah. And I let them know this morning that we have to turn back to him. We have to turn back to him and begin to follow his statutes and his laws and his commandments. And that's what's going to bring about a change in our lives. Yehuda is wakening up. Yehuda is wakening up. And this is why I don't believe that 2/3 talk about the end in the last days here, how it's going to be. 2/3 of us not going to make it. I don't believe that, you see. I don't believe that it's talking about the last days, even though there's still a lot of us are not going to make it, because we are stiff-necked. We are hard-headed. We still want to do what we want to do, and if we're being told what to do and what we're being told to do is right, we still get upset at it. So we disqualify ourselves. It's not Yahuwah disqualifying you. We disqualify ourselves through our ignorance. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. Right? The people are perishing. But Jacob has been having trouble all the time. And think about this. Yahuwah delivered his people from Egyptian bondage, right? From Egyptian bondage. So many thousands of years ago. That was the whole 12 tribes. You feel me? Now just think about this. Now he has to deliver Israel again. But Judah is all over the world. So if 2/3 of us not going to make it, and he talks about how they're going to be burying the bodies of the Gentiles, I think 6 months to bury those bodies, or 7 days or something like that, to bury those bodies when he brings judgment upon us. How is it that the 2/3 of us are not going to make it when we're going to be buried? I forgot what book, chapter this is. You know, maybe I should have brought that, but I don't be knowing what I'm going to say when I get up here and say it. But we're going to be burying bodies, X. I think it says for 6-7 months. Then that's how many of the nations is going to die that's coming in the coming judgment. See, these prophets began to speak of things that was going to happen versus things that's where we are now. When they was talking about the 2/3, that happened in 70 AD, I believe. Again, I stand to be corrected. So you go back and look at these things again. And I read verses 13, chapter 13. Of course, I started with the context of reading chapter 12. Like I say, you got to go back to the beginning. To the first message to understand what's happening and what's going on. All praise to Father. And I'm going to go on down now to chapter 14. It's even going to let you know some more things. It's going to talk about that time that then was and the time that is going to come. This is how the prophets operate. And at least that's how Elua operated in the prophets, so that the Edomite really couldn't nail this stuff down to change it. They still made their subtle changes and try to do this and try to do that. But listen to this right here in chapter 14 of Zechariah. Chapter 14, beginning at verse 1. This is what the scripture says. It says, behold, the days of Yahuwah come, and thy spoils shall be divided in thee. And I will gather all the Gentiles to Jerusalem to war. Are y'all hearing me? And the city shall be taken. Now, let me stop there for 1 minute. Let me tell you, this ain't talking about now. The heathen have tried to take that and turn it around and think it's talking about now to come against that false group that's over there, right? How is he going to do this right here when the Gentiles are already there living there? Let me read it again. Let me read it to you again. It says, behold, the days of Yahuwah come, and thy spoil shall be divided in thee. And I will gather all the Gentiles to Jerusalem to war. They're already over there. They've been over there for thousands of years. So it ain't talking about the time that's coming. Those Gentiles came up against Jerusalem in 70 AD. They had partners. You remember Psalms 83? They was confederate against Yasharel. So that lets you know that it wasn't about any racism. And I mentioned that in another message. It wasn't about racism, Lily. It was about a confederacy. That and racism look alike, but they was confederate against Yasharel. Are y'all following me? So this is not talking about now. They want you to think that it's talking about now, still presenting themselves as Yahuwah's people. And so because folk ain't liking them because they Yahuwah's people, folk ain't liking them because they are the murderers of the world. Truth be told. Folk ain't liking them because they are the finaglers in the world. They are running the world in an evil way. That's why folk ain't liking them. But they want you to think that folk ain't liking them because they are God's people. I don't like you because you're evil. I don't like you because the prophecies don't say this about Judah. The prophecies don't say that Judah would be in power. The prophecies don't say that Judah would be over the banking system. The prophecies don't say that Judah will be over the movie industry, the music industry. The prophets don't say that. The prophecy said we will be suffering the curses. And so that's why they had to tell a little lies. Okay, help Israel, bring send food and this and that, so that you can think that the prophecies is fitting them. Somebody ain't following me. Somebody ain't following me. And you know what? Some of you might be afraid to say certain things, but guess what? I'm going to walk today. I'm going to walk tomorrow. I'm just like Hamashiach. Huh? I'm just like Hamashiach. My work ain't done. But the mainstream, listen to this here, Mary. The mainstream news is not reporting them. The world court, she sent out the video. The world court have already deemed them people illegal in Israel. Mainstream ain't going to tell you that. So YouTube, you're still going to keep silencing us if we say certain things? Anti-Semitism. When they've been deemed illegal, they're not the people of the land. What you going to do about that? Facebook, come on. Zuckerberg. All these people claim to be Jews, but we are so afraid. Oh, I can't say. The world court have deemed them illegal. They are not who they say they are. They are not who they say they are. What are we going to do with that? Are the real Yehudis still going to just lay down and take it? No. Father, help us. But listen to this. He says in verse 2, I will gather all the Gentiles to Jerusalem to war, and the city shall be taken. See, when we go into our, let me tell you how I know this ain't talking about the last days. Because when we go into our nation, it ain't never going to be taken no more. Are y'all following me now? This talking about the 2/3 and all this kind of stuff. Jerusalem will never be taken anymore. The scripture tells us we'll never be put out anymore. We'll be ever in the presence of our Yahuwah. He said, you will be my children and I will be your father forever. But it says right there, I will gather all the nations to fight against Jerusalem. The city will be taken. You see the crowd? We don't think about what we're teaching here. We put everything, they want you to think that everything is futuristic. Jerusalem, when we go back, it ain't ever going to be taken no more. This going to be one attempt because the nations are going to be so poor, living back in squalor where they come from because our folk the one taught them basic sanitation and everything. We was mighty, they was poor. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. And so they're going to be starving and mad and upset, Edom and all the other nations. So they're going to make one last attempt. And this will cause the war of Armageddon to come down. Gog and Magog. Blood up to a horse's brow. Because the Father's going to come down and he's going to destroy them. And that's going to be it. Are y'all following me? That's going to be it. And Yasharel shall dwell safely. This ain't talking about no 2/3. Are y'all following me now? No. I wish I had these scriptures. I'm getting older, so I can't remember like I need to. And I ain't speaking that up on me, but I've read scriptures like that. Guess what? Even when we get there, we've always been a people that multiply fast anyway. You got me? And the scripture says something to this part right here. Most High said, don't you know why there will be no more seeds? Don't you know why there will be no more any of these things? Because the land, we're going to multiply so big. He's going to expand our land because there ain't going to be enough land for us. We're going to multiply so quick. And it's already vast. It's already vast. He don't want you reading. They don't want you reading Joshua. They don't want you reading Second Esdras or none of them. Just read Ezra. Don't read Esdras. They same person, but you feel me? But they don't want you reading first and second and third and fourth book of Esdras. They just want you to read Ezra in King James. He might have done a trick on us. And then you got these black high class, don't know what they think about Christians. Trying to bring you out of your ignorance. And the reason why people like us can't bring you out of your ignorance because you have already made a practice that the lower class, as you see us, can't tell you nothing. I've told this story before, so I'm going to tell it again for our own folk. And the vision that the Most High had gave me about this old uppity. I want to say an uppity nigger now. On this horse and buggy with his nose turned up in this raging river in front of him. And I'm hollering, hey, stop, the water, the river. And he just like this, the horse. I can even hear the horse in the vision. I can even hear him just going toward that raging river. He like this here, ain't paying me no attention. Holding the brow, whatever you call it. And that joker went down in that river. Now, I don't know why the river didn't take him on down. It's just the vision the Most High told me. And then the Most High told me, now go get him. Because he ain't listening to you now. Now you go get him. And I went down in that raging river. Didn't bother me. Didn't do anything to me. I brought that nigger back up. That high-class nigger back up limp. I'm telling you where our folk at. I know how our folk is. Some of y'all just too nice to say it. I'm not. Brought him back up. He was just limp. He was just limp like a piece of wet Wonder Bread, a slice of Wonder Bread. You hear me? And I laid him on the porch. And the faces that I saw on that porch, I told them, I said, now revive him. And I turned around and walked off. And the faces was Word of Freedom. People in Word of Freedom. And they went to work, and I didn't care no more. You can't come there because Christianity told you, oh, you got to love, you got to be concerned, you got to be. No, hell with that. No, you won't be able to do the work that Yahuwah have called you to do when you're operating that way. No, I'm telling you. Some of us are stiff-necked. Some of us think we're higher than one another. That's the reason that people on the continent don't like half of us. Because when we go over there, we try to present ourselves more than them. They are our brothers and sisters, and they don't even want you over there. Why? Because you look on them low. That can't happen, Yasharel, anymore. Those are our brothers and our sisters. We have faced and went through some of the same atrocities that they went through because of Edom. Stop thinking that you are more when you are not. If we're going to be equal with anyone, it needs to be among ourselves and not the nations. Because he told us we are above and not beneath. We are the heads and not the tails. So stop trying to be equal with them, and let's be equal with our brothers, our sisters. Are y'all feeling me now? Shoot. It's a lot of humbling our folk got to do over here. And then you got the boule among us. Yep, I said it. That have caused us all kind of problems and trouble and trying to appear that you're for us when you are just keeping us down. Man, I seen Diddy on they even had it on the mainstream news because they'll highlight that. Now, you know this guy worth billions, right? Before he didn't got into his little trouble. Billions, right? Gonna go down to Jackson State, Mississippi, and give him $1 million. And you worth billions. That's just like you have $100. That's just like you got $1,000 and give me a penny and thinking that you have baruched me. But that's what he had to do because he didn't sign the contract. Can't help your own people. You worth billions and you give me $1 million. Some of y'all might not be calculating that right in your mind because you think that's a lot of money. $1 million ain't even a speck in a bucket when you have billions. Are you following me now? And we do this stuff because we're still under their rule, and you won't tell me you ain't in slavery no more? You won't tell me that? The shackles is not here or here anymore. The shackles is here. The shackles are here. And I know some of y'all think that, okay, pack up and I'm finna move to Africa, so we ain't got given what he finna. I'm getting out of here when y'all get out of here. Maybe I got to go and take care of things back and forth, but I ain't moving, Rob, until the Most High gathers. A lot of us making the decision to get up out of here and all this kind of stuff, but the Most High promised me some wealth. And I'm trying to stick. I wish to get up out of here right now, Mary. But I got a promise. And I ain't going to forfeit my promise, X. They've done too much. Our folk have labored too much for nothing. Now you think you got your little high-paying job and that's it. No, you still having to work for that. Our ancestors have already laid it up for us. You hear me? No. I may have to go back and forth and take care of business. But no, I plan to get up out of here, Lily, with all of us together, the gathering. Are y'all following me? So don't think that I'm fixing to just leave and move. Oh, I would like to. But I'm trying to follow the Most High and not yield to my own understanding and do still what needs to be done here. Are y'all feeling me? That's all what's up. We lean too much to our own thinking. And because we think it, we determine it that that's a fact. And we're off as two left shoes. Are y'all following me? Come on now. You got to follow me on this stuff. Shoot, man. Help us, Father. Thank you, Sue Yahoo said, them house slaves. Let me read some of his opinions here. Let me read something. Well, I really don't. I'll deal with those later because I really need to get down with this here today. But do you see what I'm talking about? He said, I will gather them in verse 2. In verse 2. But I will gather all the Gentiles to Jerusalem to war, and the city shall be taken, the houses plundered. Listen to this here. And the women ravished. Y'all following me? You know what that means, right? They want to say eating grapes today, but I say raped. That's what that means. Now, you think this fixing to happen when we go back into the land? This is with the 2/3 now that ain't going to make it. Y'all following me? This already didn't happen. It's still happening to some sort, but when we go back in that land, this ain't happening never no more. It's never going to happen again. The women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity. It was a few of us left there. You see the two? You see? Are you getting it now? But the rest of my people shall not be utterly cut off from the city. Are you following me? And Yahuwah, verse 3, and Yahuwah shall go forth and fight with those Gentiles as when he fought in the day of war. Now the prophet then switched over. He then switched over to another time now. Listen to what he's saying. And Yahuwah shall go forth and fight with those Gentiles as when he fought in the day of war. And his feet shall stand in that day on the Mount of Olives. Sound familiar? See, this is when they're going to try to come, when we're in our land, they're going to try to come and take us back up, recolonize us again. Somebody say the devil is a lie. Say it again. Devil is a lie. I'm telling you. So he didn't jump over now to the last days, you see, because these things are going to happen in these last days when we are back in the land. They're going to try to come again. But he's going to stand on the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave as under. Half of it toward the east and the west. A very great division. And half the mountain shall lean to the north, and half of it to the south. And the valley of my mountain shall be closed up, and the valley of the mountain shall be joined unto, it says Jesad here because I'm reading out of the Septuagint, but I think the phony word, they have changed the KJV, say, I think Avela, what does it say? They call it Avela or something. I forgot what the name that they call it. But anyway, it says, and shall be blocked up. Let me just see something here. No. Doesn't say that. Azal. A-Z-A-L. That's what the King James says for Jasad. So, I don't know. It says, and the valley of my mountain shall be closed up, and the valley of the mountains shall be joined on Jesad, and shall be blocked up as it was blocking up in the days of the earthquake. In the days of Uzziah, king of Yehudah. And Yahuwah, my Eluah, shall come, and all the saints with him. Now you see what this is talking about? This is talking about the last days now. And it ain't talking about no saints come from no rapture. Ain't talking about no saints come from no rapture. Because the rapture is not so. And now I've been telling you for a while now. Just type in 1830 John Darby, D-A-R-B-A, John Darby, rapture. And you'll find out what the truth is. Y'all Christians, y'all don't want to know the truth. You're having pleasures in unrighteousness. You're having pleasure worshiping these idols. And so that's why you can't get the scriptures right. You're believing the colonizers. You're believing them twisting and tweaking the scriptures. You believe that. You've been told that be a good nigga now because you'll get your blessing when you go to heaven. So it got you looking forward to going to heaven. You see, when that place is not made for us, scriptures plainly say the meek shall inherit the earth. But since you refuse to become meek, you want to stay high and mighty. You won't inherit it. Simple as that. That boy's so mean. That boy, he's just so mean. But isn't it the truth, what I'm telling you? Because the devil blinding you through my delivery, so you can't even receive the truth. You're going to have to come to the place, well, I don't care about the delivery because that boy telling the truth. that man telling the truth. And when we care about delivery, guess what we're walking by? Our feelings. We're walking by our feelings. Well, I want to say, y'all Sherelle sisters look so beautiful today. Oh, y'all hear me? Y'all look so beautiful today with y'all little hair wraps on and all this kind of stuff. Shabbat shalom. Yasharel women. Shabbat shalom. Y'all look so beautiful. I just thought I had to mention that to y'all. You see, I can be nice. And that's not being so nice. That's being truthful. You put the truth where it belongs. And it is truthful that they look so beautiful today. Now, that's a different story about y'all brothers. Y'all ugly as heck. No, including myself. But it's all good. But y'all are so beautiful today. I praise Yahuwah for our women. You know? I praise Yahuwah for our women. Now, only thing I ask of y'all, become un-Americanized. Because sometimes y'all drive us foolish. What you call it that? Yes, you did. What you call it? But hey, y'all beautiful. Y'all beautiful today. All right, let me finish reading this. What verse am I at? I'm in verse 6. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day, there shall be no light, and there shall be for one day cold and frost. I don't even have to go any farther, though. Let me see. Because I've proved to you that the prophets are jumping in and out of time. You know what I mean? So it kind of like even confused the colonizers, but them jokers are so smart and so intelligent. Why? Because they have demon knowledge. They have demon knowledge, so they can figure stuff out and still wing it. I can't wait, though. Let me see. I can't wait, though, because my sister was sharing with me the other day how they have twisted up a particular letter, which we know that they twisted up a lot of letters in Paul. So we're looking forward to that coming, and she's going to untwine some stuff and show you what these colonizers done. And, you know, you have a lot of us Israelites don't like Paul. Because we said Paul was a, what's the word? When you gravitate to him, Paul was a people pleaser. Paul was just like the nations. He was trying to trick us, and he don't really see the light like Yahuwah wanted him to see the light and all that kind of stuff. So we say Paul is a traitor. That's what we say. But Paul wasn't no traitor. Them colonizers got to hold to them letters. Right? You're going to prove that, right? My sister is going to prove that. She's going to prove that. And I'm going to be ready to tune into that because she was showing it to me and I already seen, you know. But she said, I just need a confirmation. Yeah, you are right, sister girl. You are on it. Yahuwah is showing you what it is. He is showing you what it is. And all we got to do is just get concerned about his word. We'll stop getting so, if we get concerned about his word, we'll stop getting upset when the truth begins to come forth. Why? Because it will be marinating over and over in our ruach. You be received it. All the time we get mad at the truth when we have yet to receive it. Why? Most of the time it disturbs my Americanness. You have to understand that the Bible is not an American word. The Bible is a Hebrew word. It's for the Abari people. But we get mad at it. Why? Because we have become Americanized. Americanized. And even in parts of Africa, they have become so colonized and what we are too, and this here and that. So this is why we get mad at our own word, especially when it comes down to the laws, the statutes, and commandments. A lot of that they didn't change, So that's why they had to make us or threaten our lives. If you don't become a Christian and bow to the cross, we're going to kill you. That's when a lot of our people became Christians. You hear me? These colonizers knew our Kadesh Father. When they knew him, they glorified him not as Yahuwah, became vain, according to Romans 1, in their imaginations. And their foolish heart was darkened, even darker than what it was. So he had to give them over between themselves to experience a lot and go through a lot of uncleanness. This is where oh, I ain't going to say. I finna say, well, you got some particular things from that. But anyway, let me just finish reading this stuff. It says, and Yahuwah, verse 9, look at verse 9. It says, let me read verse 8. Verse 8 says, and in that day living water shall come forth out of Jerusalem, half of it toward the former sea, and half of it toward the latter sea. Read this stuff also in Revelations. And so shall it be in the summer and spring. Verse 9. And Yahuwah shall be king over all the earth. In that day there shall be one Yahuwah, Alua, and his name one. Chapter 10, compassing all the earth, and the wickedness from Gabe to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. I mean, he's going to deal with this stuff. So concerning those 2/3 again, I want to go to the book of Romans. Let me go to the book of Romans. Look at this. And we're going to start at chapter 11 in the book of Romans. Look at what Paul is dealing with here. It's still, Gentiles even took, like I said, they took our books and they still tried to make things about them. So you're going to have to really, really exercise some spiritual discernment to discern when you get over into Paul's writings, because they changed a lot of stuff. Have you ever read I think it's the Apocalypse of Paul? What's the other lost book? Not the Apocalypse of Paul. What's the name? If anybody put it in the comments, don't let me know. Was it the Gospel of Paul? I forgot the name of it. But Paul straightened out some stuff. These colonizers didn't get to that. He straightened out a whole lot of stuff. Paul was actually a guy that said it like it was. Paul had a lot of trouble about like I have a lot of trouble with folk because, hey, you just say it just like it is. Folk didn't like it. So they had to call themselves correct a lot of stuff what Paul said. You know what I mean? While they was corrupting it at the same time. They was corrupting it. So let me read this. Let's start with verse 1 and verse 11, in chapter 11. Paul said, I say then, you might have to go up to chapter 10. Let's go up to chapter 10. Well, let me just start with chapter 11. Y'all read this stuff in your own time, then you'll understand a lot of the stuff that I'm not able to convey, or what I'm saying. Where I belong. Imagine that. This is in the comments here. Thank you, sister. She said, just a few days. Now, this sister's on the continent here. You got me? She said, just a few days, I was told by a Gentile to go back to the bush where I belong. Imagine that. To go back to the bush? Oh, my Father. Hey, um, if you're watching this from YouTube and even with Facebook and all that, like and share this because our people need to know. Our people need to wake up everywhere. I've been talking to people, you know, all week about this, our people, and they're wakening up little by little. I had a cousin that stopped by my home. I think it was Thursday, and began to. I hadn't saw in a long time. Actually, surprised me, and I was so excited to see him. And I didn't immediately, but I started talking about. I had to tell him because he was raised Christian and all this kind of stuff, and I had to tell him. I said, and I'm not gonna call his name. Well, my name Don, his name Ronald. I just say that, and that's where it is. I said, Ronald, I'm not Christian anymore. Let's get into that. And when I was talking to my cousin Ronald, guess what he was doing? He was doing this here. He was listening. Stuff that we need to practice before we try to defend what we think is right. You see. See, the problem with our people, most of our people, is that they don't listen. We are too quick to defend some foolishness that we think is right. This is the reason many family members don't receive you. Because families, I know it's like this all around, but especially black families in America, all we got to have is a dime more than the other guy, and we think that we know everything. That's all we got to have, Rob. A few dollars more than the other guy, and we're something to deal with. So, but I appreciate that. And then, after got done and we talked a little bit, he said, "You know what, Donnell?" He said, "The only thing I hate is that my wife gonna tell me, I've been telling you all this other time. You always try to listen to somebody else other than me." Wife been trying to tell him these things. Are you feeling me? He is waking us up all over the place. Don't quit being so mean to some of these rich Negroes and just try to pray for them. That's the right thing to do, right? Huh? But every now and again, y'all let me just go in on them. If that's all right. What do you say, Ed? Ed said, you're going to go in anyway. No, because you see us. You see the lowly trying to struggle and come on where they need to go. And then you got these boule types. And just because they got more money and this American education, which is not really based on true education, it teaches you the falseness of everything, and they tell you that this is reality. And but because they have that, it makes it harder. It makes it harder for us, our people. Because why? In actuality, we want to be white because we are bought into the foolishness that white is better, white is prettier. Huh? No. They've been lied to too because they ain't white. We've been lied to. It's about the blood. It's about the blood, Yasmin. It's about the blood. That's all it is. Let me wrap this up because I'm really still not hitting on this stuff, and I'm about tired of it anyway. And it's not. Listen at that. Now this is one of our Gentile sisters. Listen to what she said. She said, "Yes, those people are fake, and it's not their land." Now, this is the particular Gentile sister, and I know I'm gonna call your name, sister. I appreciate this Gentile sister here. I appreciate her, and I'm not just putting you on blast, sister, but I'm gonna put you on blast just a little bit because of what you're doing. and the things that you're saying. Now, this is a sister that is really, really, that really, really know what it means to cleave. You got me? She are not trying to beat us. She are not trying to be above us. She are not just talking about his name and not even acknowledging his people. This woman is really, really cleaving. And she are not doing that just through her mouth. She's doing that through her actions. This woman just give. Janet Hawkins, I'm giving you a shout out because I believe in my heart that you are real because you're doing it through your actions. I had Gentiles on the come on the lives and say stuff. At least one of them did, and I ought to call her doing name again because she said that the work that we've been called to in Africa. What did that woman say about that work? Huh? Y'all remember saying? She, yeah, she said it's a waste of time or something to that matter. Uh, huh? Yeah, it was really more degrading than that. This white lady, Jody Stevenson, she said that it was something to that. This is a waste of time. A waste of time to teach your own people about the truth, and you run around here talking about some Yahuwah. That's the reason I know people like that is fake. But this woman that I'm calling out, Janet Hawkins, all praise to Yahuwah for you because you backed it up through your actions. She just give over and over and over and over. And it's no small amount. It's $300, $300 over and over and over and over. And I appreciate that. Are y'all feeling me? I appreciate that. So shout out to you, sister. You are a sister. I don't care what. I give the props where they are. So I appreciate you. I mean, I do. So. Mm-hmm. All praise to the Most High. I'm going to have to go on and finish this. Yeah. Sister, we appreciate you. Okay. Now, let's read some more out of Romans. Then I'm going to try to bring it to an end if we're not fully convinced that the 2/3 it was talking about what happened in 70 AD, and it could even so mean all the way up to what has happened in the past, slavery, and our people around the world, the islands, the isles of the sea, Jamaica, and all that kind of stuff. We've been slaughtered, Deborah. We've been slaughtered. These things have happened to us, and there's no way that this 2/3, even though a lot of us are even more sinful than our ancestors was, the book tells us that too. We're even more sinful, So some of us are still not going to make this gathering. It's your choice, but it sure ain't gonna be no 2/3. No 2/3. And look at here, let me say this right here. Because the scripture says in Zechariah, let's go back to Zechariah 13, verse 8. Let me show you something. Zechariah 13, verse 8 again. Look at this right here. It says in verse 8 again, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahuwah, two-thirds or two parts thereof shall be cut off and perish, right? But the third part shall be left therein. Look what verse 9 says. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and I will try them as silver is tried, and I will prove them as gold is proven. Now that's some hot, hot fire, right? You don't think that you done went through that already? What you think slavery was? What you think 70 AD was when these women was being ravished and these men was being killed? What do you think that was? And apartheid. And what happened in South Africa. What you think that was? And now, since we're going to be gathered again, and Revelations talk about, the devil have come down with great anger or something, come down with great anger, and to try to get the woman that bore the man child, and she was carried away into the wilderness. It don't say where you're going to be brought through no fire, where you're going to be purified like gold, where it says you're going to be tried like silver. Said the devil have come down and the Most High led the woman in the wilderness to be fed a time and a half time. I ain't talking about no 2/3 here. Huh? Now, some of our up at itself, he going to have to go back and get us after we go through a few of these bombs that these nations going to bring, and then we're going to get it then. We're going to understand it then he's going to go back and get the rest of us. That's the reason I said this gathering is not going to happen in a day or in a month or not even 2 months. This gathering is going to take a minute because we're all over the world. And the Most High going to have to straighten out a lot of stuff too. Are y'all feeling me? He going to separate the goats from the sheep. Are y'all following me? He knows what he's doing with everything. And he know who his people is. He know who his people is. I was on the thing yesterday with the sisters that we're going to be doing the apartheid, the parallels between slavery in America with apartheid in South Africa. We're going to be doing that live in the morning. And she was telling me, and we're going to go over some tomorrow too, with Sister Sue Ya. Give you a shout out, sister. And can't wait till tomorrow morning. It's going to be exciting. So I invite people. It's going to be early on our end over here. It's going to be in the afternoon on their end over there. So if you can get out, you can turn that pillow loose and join this live and begin to, it's going to be 8 o'clock Central Time here. 8 o'clock Central Time here. With me and Robin Ruth, Sister Yahoo, and a couple of more other people in South Africa. And we're going to talk about the parallel between the apartheid in South Africa and slavery in America here. So we're going to deal with a little of that. And I'm so excited about it. So tune in for that in the morning. Tune in for that in the morning. And we're having to do it early because it gets late there way before it gets late here. Right? Are y'all following me? So we're going to talk about some things. And this thing needs to go forth. It needs to go forth because no other people have went through things the way we have went through things. Now, there have been some other melanated people that is not Yasharel. They might have experienced some things too, but not like us. Are y'all following me? And the stuff that happened, the apartheid that came into South Africa and the stuff and the atrocity that they had to go through prove that they are Jews. It proves it. Prove that they believe. They are that, And I was telling her, I know you listen to me, and I know you probably laughing now. I was telling her, I said, girl, because they think she said a lot of people think, they'll call them Hamites, and they're Hamite. I said, we know our folk. Hamites look different than Yasharel. That if you knew the facial features, you look different than Yasharel. And I said, and you look like some of us over here. That's what you look like. And Dawn said, yeah, Dad, she looked just like your cousin in Memphis, Tennessee. And I looked and I said, boy, you're exactly right. That's what they look like. So our people have a specific look. I don't care where you're located. You could be in Africa. You could be in Alaska. Look at them Jamaican folk. Them are brothers. Those are our sisters. Wherever we go. You can pull up that Negro over there in Moscow, Russia, been living over there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, generation. They look just like us. We know our people. Yahuwah put his mark on us. You hear me? He put his mark on us. And we're just marked up. We're just marked up. But some of us, I ain't even going to get into that. But listen, let's go on. And I'm almost done with this. I say I am, but I'm really not. But verse 2 says in Romans 11, it says, Yahuwah has not cast away his people, which he foreknew. And I have no other choice but to read this out of this. These Bibles, I need to go to my Sefer Bible on this. Wote ye not what the scripture saith of Elijah? Elijah, who? It says, who maketh intercession to Yahuwah against Israel, saying, Yahuwah, they have killed thy prophets and dig down their altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of Yahuwah unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so, then, at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace. There is a remnant. Now, I'm going to tell you how we confuse that. Like, it's only a remnant going to make it. Now, he's told them that's a remnant that hadn't bowed their knee down to worship Baal. Are y'all following me? See, we think all this 2/3. No, that's a remnant that I've left. According to, they cannot, kind of like the 144,000 virgins, clean, ain't never been touched, nothing, 144,000 of them. That ain't all of us that is going in. That's a remnant that just have never worshiped no idol. They are virgins, they are pure men. They have been given themselves to women. None of that. That's a remnant. But that's all of Yasharel. So we interpret wrong the way we want to interpret it. But you got to understand who have interpreted to us that way. The colonizers. Right? So they just still need to scare you. They still need to have you scared up. So you can keep depending on them. So, man, come on. Come on. Listen to what he said here. He said, even so then, at this present time, when Elijah was running from Jezebel, right? He thought he was the only one. He said, and at this, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. They hadn't bowed the knee. They don't worship Baal. Elijah thought he was the only one, but he was not. That 7,000 didn't speak of all Israel. Yes, he got 7,000 prophets that hadn't bowed the knee. Some of his prophets turned their back on him. He ain't even talking about the populace. I still got 7,000 prophets that hadn't bowed the knee. We take things out of context. We read things out of context because we think that we want to present ourselves as that we know this and we know that and this and that. The context here is prophets because Elijah is talking about himself. Go back up. Let's go back up. Verse 3 says, verse 2 says, Yahuwah has not cast away his people, which he foreknew. Wot ye not what the scripture saith of Elijah? See, now it brought Elijah in the context. Elijah was a prophet. And let you know, he ain't did this to his people either. But Elijah is the context now. Wot you not what the scripture saith to Elijah? How he maketh intercession to Yahuwah against Israel. Against Israel now. Saying, Yahuwah, they have killed thy prophets. It's talking about the people, then killed the prophets. That's what made Elijah think that he was the only one left. Kill the prophet. Let me tell you something. Jezebel had to get her done prophets from somewhere. She was married to King Ahab, king of who? Israel or Yasharel. Them 450 prophets didn't come from other nations. Them 450 prophets come from among our own folk. Are you hearing me? Now, to say that them 450 was food and Elijah think it's all over, the Most High said, I got 7,000 of them. Do that sound like 2/3? I just want to see, we take stuff out of context. This woman got 450 of them that Elijah just slain because they left Yahuwah. Let that be a lesson to you, Yasharel. You hear me? But he said, come on. Yahuwah said, come on, Elijah. You're just tied up in your feelings, man. Eliyahu, however you pronounce his name, you're tied up in your feelings. He said, know this. I got 7,000. Forget about the 400. I got 7,000 that have not bowed the knee to Baal, that have not left me. Following me? But Elijah is complaining. They have killed your prophets and dig down there. They thrown down your altars. And I am left alone. And they trying to kill me too. Yahuwah said, put it together, man. Put it together. Huh? But what says the answer of Yahuwah unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000. But we still hollering that 2/3 of us ain't going to make it. 2/3 of us are not going to make it. Who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. Even so then at this present time also, there is a remnant according to the election of grace. There's a remnant. Now, that remnant, he's still in context of the 7,000 that haven't bowed, right? The 450 bowed. But Yahuwah, like he's calling the 7,000 a remnant. A remnant just only means all of you ain't going to make it. It don't mean a few of you only going to make it. It's just saying all of you ain't going to make it. Why? Because we're stiff-necked. Can't tell us nothing. So some of you ain't going to make it. We think a remnant is what the Edomite done told us, something very small. And just because that in that dictionary don't mean that according to Yahuwah. Even now, a remnant, he said, after he done told him about the 7,000 versus the 450. Are y'all following me? I don't think y'all following me. Verse 4 says again, but what saith he? The answer of Allure unto him, I have reserved to myself 7,000. Verse 5 says, even so then, at this present time, also, there is a remnant. 7,000 versus 450. We would lean more toward the 450 and call them the remnant. But Yahuwah leaning to the 7,000. I have often said that the kingdom of Yahuwah is upside down from how we look at things, how we do things, how we understand things. It's totally in the opposite. Yahuwah calls the 7,000 the remnant. And ain't but 450 of them turn from him. But the 7,000 is the remnant. Now, it's what's left. Don't mean that it's small. Just because they're calling a remnant. Remnant just means everybody ain't going to make it. If you got 10 folk and 2 of them don't make it, X, but 8 do, Yahuwah said, I got this remnant. Because that's who made it. I don't care what your dictionary tells you. The dictionary is. You follow me? We've been lied to all over the place. Remnant don't mean few. It might say to you it means few, but it don't. Not according to this. It doesn't. And it says, and if by grace in verse 6, then it is no more works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be works, then is it no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work. What's that about? But anyway, I'm going to keep going. It says, what then? Israel has not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest blinded. Now, there's some truth to this, and there's some lying to this. You hear me? Israel has not obtained that which he seeketh for. Look, Yahuwah is the one that promised us that he's going to wake us up in the land of our captivity. Israel ain't been seeking nothing. We ain't know nothing to seek. And that which we knew we sought, Jesus. Wrong one. Wrong one. So Israel ain't attained that which he seeketh for. Why all of a sudden now, Mary, that we are being waken up and coming into the understanding of Yahuwah, Alua, and now we're seeking him. We're seeking him now because we know the truth. We're coming up out of our sleep. Up out of our sleep. So they manipulated a lot of Paul's letters here. What then? Israel has not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest made blind. Let's keep reading though. The election. Like, these Gentiles don't know who the election is. They want to say the election is Christians. Are you following me? They, the election is who? You say what you just said. Hadn't made it. Has made it. No. The election is the 12 tribes of Yasharel. That's the election. You hear me? That's the election. You remember what Hamashiach said in chapter 10 of John? There are other sheep that is not of this fold. Them I also must bring. Now, the Christian church even told us that it was the Gentiles. He's going to bring forth Gentiles. Ain't no doubt about that. But that wasn't even talking about the Gentiles yet, because many of our people had turned into Greeks. You got me? Read Acts 8, Acts 2, when it talks about the day of Pentecost. And you will see all them nations that they named, right? It wasn't it was our people that they called the Parthians, the Greeks. These was from there because that's what they act like. But you know why I say that? Because the nations don't know to come to Pentecost or the harvest. That wasn't a law for them. But even though our people was outside of the covenant doing what they wanted to do, they still knew that one. On the day of harvest, everybody come to Jerusalem. And so that's who came to Jerusalem. That's who came to Jerusalem, huh? The Israelites. And they weren't naming these nations like they were strangers and stuff. That's what we called each other when we act like the Greeks. That's the reason we call you uppity, because you acting uppity. Let me not stop, Melanie. Let me finish this because I got to go. It says, according as it is written in verse 8, have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. You see how nicely they put that? That's a rewrite. Really is a rewrite. If you want to understand that passage, because they have softened it down, you go and read Deuteronomy 28, where he told us, you're going to forget who you are. You're going to forget me. You're going to serve the gods of the lands in which you're going to be in captivity to. This is a rewrite here. Are y'all following me? They have reinserted this right here. According as it is written in verse 8, Yahuwah have given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear unto this day. Look what verse 9 says. And David saith, or David says, let their table be made a snare and a trap and a stumbling block and a recompense unto them. Right? Let their eyes be darkened that they may not see, and bow down their backs. I remember David praying this over the nations. He said, do not I hate them with hatred, because they don't obey you. I could be wrong. Set me straight. I'm willing to be set straight. Maybe I need to go back and refresh myself in the scriptures. I don't think David said this here about his people. You feeling me? David prayed this kind of stuff over in Psalms against the nations. You hear me? Even when David's own son was coming up against him, Absalom, and he told Joab or Jahab or whatever y'all want to call him, don't kill my son. Bring him to me. When his son was raising up against him to try to take his father's throne, told Joab, don't kill my son. You bring him to me. You know what Joab did, right? Joab went and killed that boy. He killed that boy. And what did David do? You find it in this gun. He cried where, if you read it, you could feel it. Oh, Absalom. Oh, Absalom, my son, my son, my son. And then before David died, and Solomon, his other son, finna take the throne, he told Solomon, you bring that horrid head Joab butt down to the grave. But they tell us to forget it, X. Tell us to forget it. You hadn't been taught right. But now you're talking about a man that is after Yahuwah's own heart. When his son Solomon took the throne, he never forgot what Joab or Jahab did. He never forgot it. And you want us to forget apartheid? You want us to forget slavery? We can't demand justice if we forget it. Can't forget that. I want justice. But they'll say you're a racist, they'll say you're hateful, they'll say you're mean because you want justice. But every year you have a celebration for 9/11 to remember. But you want us to forget that you bombed yourself. Are y'all following me? Christianity have taught us wrong. They have taught us wrong. Yahuwah even compared himself to an unjust judge. You know, he's nowhere near unjust. He even compared himself to an unjust judge because an old woman kept coming to the unjust judge, avenge me of my adversary, avenge me, and avenge me. And then he said about the unjust judge, he don't regard man, he don't care nothing about Yahuwah and this here and that, but he avenged that woman of adversary because he got tired of her coming. Now, what do you think Yahuwah gonna do for us? He love us. He gonna avenge us. Are y'all following me? These people tell you, oh, forget it. And when you talk about it and bring it up, oh, come out the past. It happened. Did you forget the day that they had to amputate your leg? Did you forget the day that you broke your leg? Did you forget the day that you had a heart attack? You didn't die, but did you forget the day? You never forget events that happens like that. Did you forget the day that they stole your children, they kidnapped your children and sold them to a slave brothel? Can you forget it? So how you going to tell me to forget this and then you got our people? Oh, you just got to forget it and move on, child. And they still trying to erase your tale. They still trying to erase it, but just forget it. And then if we talk about it, oh, they hateful. You're the one hateful. You're the one got this on my mind because of what you done. You're the one that have me experiencing trauma from one generation to the next for what you have done. And you want me to forget it? We don't understand for nothing. Our people don't understand for nothing because we have received Christianity. Christianity teach you really don't worry about what your oppressors been doing. All forgive them for they know not what they do. I don't believe Hamashiach said that on the cross. Are you following me? I'm telling you. I forgot what it meant. Yeah. When he, this is for Sabbath keeper. When he said, Lama, Sabachthani, suppose your hand stretched out. He wasn't saying, my God. What did he say? Why are you forsaking me? That's not what it was. That's not what he said. When he was nailed to that stake, hanging on there, he said, this is, that lama, whatever he said. He said, this is for Sabbath keepers. We're the Sabbath keepers. That's what he actually said. We be fool and just accept everything. Ain't that so? He didn't say, my God, why are you forsaking me? Before he died, he said, this is for Sabbath keepers. That's what it meant. Come on, somebody. He suffered for us. This is for Sabbath keepers. So now you know how important the Sabbath is. We can't keep it as important than what it is to Yahuwah simply because we ain't in our land. You see, you have to understand this. Yahuwah said the whole land have a Sabbath rest. 2. That means everything shut down on the Sabbath. Can't do that in Babylon. You're in Babylon. You're in Babylon. You got to make this deal, boy. You got to make this car productions, boy. You got to keep doing this. Babylon, money. You ain't in your holy Kadash land. The land ain't shutting down for Sabbath. And some of our leaders got to understand this. Well, you got to go and get another job then. It ain't that easy. And it's not like that. You're in the land of your captivity. Huh? We have to be careful in what we're saying, you know. Though it'll prove us hypocrites. I'm sure we're honest in what we're saying, but we're not considering the whole picture, the big picture. Don't condemn yourself because you cannot keep everything in Babylon in terms of laws and statutes and commandments. You can't do it, Ty. You cannot do it. Even though it's in my heart to. You understand me? You cannot do it, Rob. But you can make every effort to do it. So we got to be leaning on our brothers and our sisters. Like I said last week, that have to work sometimes. If you got it like that, hooray. Praise and all praise to Yahuwah that you got it like that. But some of them don't. Some of them don't. They have done everything to hold us back, to hold us down. You know, they know that you're going to come. And a lot of these people are so low down, they know about the awakening, right? They'll tell you to come in on Saturday just because of that, because they know you're a Sabbath keeper, you're a believer in Yahuwah and his laws and statutes and his commandments. And if you say no, we'll tell you real quick, Sister Lily, but you just got to believe Yahuwah. We'll tell our folk that. Well, and we do have to believe Yahuwah. But don't you tell me to walk off my job unless you got something set up for me to feed my children. Many of us don't have that. I know I just be skipping around, but it's just so much I be having to tend to. The children of Yasharel said, we can't even sing the songs of Zion. Y'all lucky we're singing for you. Because we can't even sing the songs of Zion in a strange land. But you is so wrapped up, you know. They come through, and guess what? The strange lands have profited off of our songs. You feel me? And still profiting off of them. Still profiting off of them. Guess what? Judah stop singing. The music industry is going to crack if Judah stops singing. Because you tired, you ain't going to be sitting there listening to Lawrence Welk. Well, you say that fella dead, been dead. Well, that's basically where you come from. If Judah stops singing, that's a reason why they wanted integration. It's far more deeper than what you think. That's the reason why they wanted to integrate. You understand me? That's the reason why they wanted to give you that public education. To keep watch over you, because Judah was inventing everything. In them little old, like I heard that fella say, in them little old dilapidated schools. They were still inventing everything. automatic transmission, stop lights, everything, air conditioning, everything. So we need to integrate these people so we can keep watch over them, so we can get their patents, we can get this, that, and that, all that. They ain't wanted to integrate with you because I have a dream that one day black girls and little black boys will sit down and pray together and play. No. You was moving out, man. You was excellent. You got your excellency. So we need to punish this. Are y'all following me? We just receive lies because we want to be loved. We want to be loved so bad. We want to be loved. You start looking into why they wanted to integrate. To capture your brilliance. Are you following me? Because our people are brilliant, are just absolutely brilliant. Don't think that they wanted to integrate because you are so, because they love you so. None of that. None of that. Are y'all following me? Listen, I gotta go. I'm not. I got some other scriptures concerning this, but I don't even want to go into them now. You know, I haven't even read all of Romans. There are scriptures in Jeremiah. I'm not even going to go into them, but just do your own research. Look into again about the 2/3 not making it. That is not talking about these last days, and that is not dealing with this gathering. That is not dealing with this gathering. Are y'all hearing me? How many nations it is in the world? 197? Huh? 197. And we're in every last one of them. And so 2/3 of us not going to make it? No. He was narrowing that down to Jerusalem according to 70 AD when the nations were going to come up over. And however many was in Jerusalem at that particular time of our people, 2/3 of them ain't going to make it. 2/3 of them are not going to make it. Are y'all feeling me? And know this, remnant doesn't mean a small amount. It means what's left. Whether 2 been taken and 10 left, 10 is the remnant. Are y'all following me now? Stop going for what the colonizers have taught us. Remnant don't necessarily mean small. Remnant means what's left. I don't care what the dictionary say. All praise to Yahuwah. All praise to Yahuwah. Come on, standing up on your feet. We're gonna get out of here. All praise to Yahuwah. We bless, we Baruch his holy name. We Baruch his holy name. Are you gonna cut me off?